Have you ever watched a mentalist and just thought, how did they do that? It feels like real magic. Well, today, we are pulling back that curtain. We're going to dive into all those hidden signals and subtle forces that shape what we see, guide our choices, and even change how we feel. A lot of the time, without us even realizing it's happening. So how do they do it? You know what? Let's just find out with a little experiment right now. I want you to play along with me for a second. No tricks up my sleeve, I promise. Just follow a few simple steps. Let's see if I can guess what you're thinking right here, right now. You ready? Okay, let's walk through this. First thing, think of any number between 2 and 10. Got one? Good. Now, take that number and multiply it by 9. Now, if your answer is a 2-digit number, I want you to add those 2 digits together. So for example, if you got, say, 27, you'd add 2 plus 7, which gives you 9. All right, next up, take that new number and subtract 5 from it. Okay, now just match your final number to a letter in the alphabet. So 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C, you get the idea. And for the last step, using that letter, I want you to think of a country in Europe, a common animal, and that animal's color. Take a second. You got it? So let me guess. Are you picturing a gray elephant from Denmark? If you are, don't freak out. I haven't suddenly developed mind-reading powers. This is a classic trick, and it's built on predictable patterns, not magic. You see, the math forces pretty much everyone to land on the number 4, which is the letter D. And when you ask someone for European countries starting with D, what's the first one that pops into their head? Denmark. Then an animal for E, elephant. And its color? Gray. The secret isn't reading your mind, it's knowing how your mind is likely to work. Okay, so that trick was all about prediction. But what about reading someone in real time? Well, the first key to unlocking these hidden signals isn't about being a psychic. It's about being a really good observer, but probably not in the way you think. So, professional magician and mentalist Rich Ferguson, he says we need to basically throw out the old rule book. Why? Well, because all those textbook definitions we've heard a million times. Like, if someone crosses their arms, they're closed off. They're often totally useless without any context. And this right here is the absolute core of it. Look at the difference. You've got a static pose, which is just a snapshot. Someone could have their arms crossed because they're cold, right? Not because they hate your idea. But a shift in behavior? Now that's a reaction. That's the real signal. So instead of memorizing a dictionary of poses, what you're really looking for are these live, subconscious tells. For example, you mention a price and the person across from you suddenly leans in. Boom, they're interested. Or someone shakes your hand and, without thinking, turns your palm down. They're trying to establish dominance. At the poker table, a player who looks at their cards and their hands slowly creep forward, they're getting ready to bet. And a classic one, if someone's feet are pointing towards the door while they're talking to you, yeah, their brain has already left the building. These shifts are honest because they're gut reactions. So, if the first key is just being incredibly observant, the second is understanding the art of suggestion. You know, how our choices can be gently nudged in a certain direction without us even realizing it. Let's try another quick one. Don't overthink this at all. Just pick a number between 1 and 10. What's the very first one that popped into your head? Was it 7? If you picked 7, you are in good company. In fact, a crazy number of people pick 7. And this is no accident. It's a perfect example of what mentalists call the number force. So why 7? Well, in that range of 1 to 10, the numbers 1 and 10 feel way too obvious, right? They're the edges. The even numbers feel a little boring. But 7 feels kind of special, a little mysterious, and it's not right on the edge. So your brain, when it's looking for a quick, easy choice, it just defaults to the path that feels the most unique, a path that's already been kind of paved for it. Okay, so we've seen how our eyes can be tricked and our choices can be guided. But what about our ears? Influence isn't just visual or psychological. It can absolutely be auditory. And sound is one of the most powerful and frankly most overlooked tools of influence there is. This is wild. A study from the University of Vienna looked into this. Researchers had people look at photos of totally neutral faces while listening to different kinds of music. And the result? When heterosexual women listened to pleasant, really stimulating music, they consistently rated the men in the photos as being more attractive and more desirable. And the psychology behind this is just fascinating. It's called misattribution of arousal. Basically, your brain feels that emotional high, that arousal, from the music. But because you're also looking at a person at the same time, your brain gets confused. It accidentally transfers that good feeling onto the person. So that excitement you're getting from a beautiful piece of music can literally be misinterpreted by your brain as romantic attraction. This all leads to another really interesting question. Can specific sound frequencies, like those binaural beats you hear about, where you listen to two slightly different tones in each ear, can they actually change our mental state on a deeper level? I mean, people make a lot of claims, but what does the science actually say? Well, when you look at the research, the picture gets a little messy. On one hand, you've got a big meta-analysis of 22 different studies that found, binaural beats can be effective for things like anxiety and focus. Some studies even show they help people before surgery. But then, on the other hand, more recent reviews have found inconsistent or even zero results. The science is just not settled yet. It seems like for some people, under some conditions, they might have an effect, but it is definitely not the universal brain hack some people claim it is. It's a great reminder to be a little skeptical. So, what is all this? The body language, the subtle suggestions, the background sounds, what does it all add up to? What's the big takeaway here? Well, the real magic, it isn't about learning a bunch of tricks to use on other people. It's about developing a whole new level of awareness for yourself. And really, it all boils down to this. Instead of just seeing a static pose, you learn to observe the shift. Instead of just hearing words, you start to listen for the subtle suggestions that are priming a choice. You start to notice how the music playing in a store might actually be affecting your mood. And most importantly, you begin to question the magic and see the psychology that's really pulling the strings. It's all just about paying better attention. By understanding these hidden signals, you become less influenced by them and way more tuned in to the world around you. So the real question is, now that we've pulled back the curtain a little bit, what's the first hidden signal you're going to notice out in the real world?